Very good. You're terrific. Wonderful bit. Wonderful. Very proud of you. Hello.
Mr. Brooks,
How are
what
you?
a great
Thank
delight
you.
to see
Thank
you.
you.
It's a great
Just
delight.
a fiver, just a little.
Extra time?
Anything you say, that's nice.
Watch this, is a Yorkshireman.
Yeah, right.
You might think it's a prop, it's mine now.
Right. Who's going to keep it?
Now, tell us about this West End show that you've got, the Theatre Royal, which I've seen and which is truly wonderful. It is outrageous. It is... I mean, the concept is extraordinary.
Well, it's all about Hitler.
It is.
I mean, he's been very good to me. I made a nice living. I think I'm the only Jew that's profited by, you know, by all the terrible things he's done.
So how did the idea come to you? I mean, what was the notion? It's a very out there notion to do.
Do you want the truth, really?
The truth.
I worked for a guy. I was a little office boy. I worked for this guy who wore a black producer's hat and an alpaca coat. Gray, charcoal gray, thick alpaca coat, morning, noon, and night, winter, summer, spring. His name was Benjamin Kutcher, and he made love to many little old ladies on a cracked leather couch. On the way to the cemetery, they'd stop at Kutcher's, you know, and they'd always write a check out. This is all true, all true. They'd write a check, and they'd say, what's the title of the play? And he'd say, Cash. It's called Cash. The play is called Cash. And they'd write out checks to Cash. And so, you know, and he'd always raise a little more, a couple $100 more than he needed. And then it came to me, you know, after I had done the Sid Caesar show, and that was over, and I didn't know what to do. And so I thought about Benjamin Kutcher and these little old ladies, and raising more money than you know, you can make more money with a flop than you could with a hit. Yeah. And so I wrote the producers.
But the audacious part of it is that finally the show that you picked, because it's bound to be a failure, is Springtime for Hitler.
Yes.
Now that's the audacious part of it.
Yeah. Do you know the movie was called that? You know.
Well,
yeah, but then none of the theaters would put it on the marquee. They wouldn't put Springtime for Hitler on the marquee. Oh. So we had to come up with another. So it was kind of ironic, we called it.
It's interesting to think that was 1968 when you did the movie, The Producers, right? Which was a flop. I mean, it got you an Oscar, but it was...
Yeah, no, it didn't make a nickel.
Didn't make a nickel.
No. It only cost $900,000, and to this day, it's never gotten it back.
Yeah. but I mean, but then you made it into a musical. It became a smash. But what's interesting, of course, is to think that, I mean, nowadays you'll have a difficulty if you start from scratch again in today's PC times, getting that made at all, wouldn't you?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the concept of it is so bold. I mean, the sort of PC people nowadays would say...
Well, many films that I've done, thank God, were done in more, you know, looser, easier times.
Yes.
I mean, you could never say the N-word. You couldn't fart on screen, you know. Yeah. I mean, Blazing Saddles would never have been born.
It broke all those conventions, didn't it?
It broke wind, too.
It broke wind, too.
I mean, I was very lucky that, you know...
I'm going to ask you, actually, just a technical question.
Sure.
How do you get that farting scene done in Blazing Saddles? I mean, what did you... What was the reason that...
Well...
You know I'm asking you.
Yeah, what we used to... First of all, I said to the cowboys on the set, I said, don't do it. Don't break wind. Don't do that. And I said, we'll handle it later. You know, we'll put that sound in later. And then in the cutting room, we put soap under all the editors and myself, and anybody who wandered in, we'd say, here's a bowl of water and soap, put it under your armpit, and, you know, and that's how we did it. And we'd make wonderful sounds, I mean, you know, so that there was never a smell or an odor.
No, of course not. Great movies were made. The thing, too, about doing this film, the producers, the musical, is that you, in fact, demonstrate your talent because you've written all the music. Now, music's played a very big part in your life.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I imagine that when you first started off as a comedian, that you'd have to have a little song, a little patter. Would you?
Well, when we worked in the Borscht Belt, when we worked in the mountains, every comic had a kind of introductory song, like, my name is Donnie, they say I'm funny, you know, that was Donna Bell. And then, so I had to come up with one. So I came up with, here I am, I'm Melvin Brooks, I've come to stop the show. Just a ham whose minus looks, but in your hearts I'll grow. I'll tell you gags, sing you songs, every little nappy tune and roll along. Out of my mind, won't you be kind and please love Melvin Brooks.
The Borscht belt, I mean, you should explain to our viewers. It was, I mean, that was where all the Jewish people went on
summer resorts.
Vacation.
And it was called the Borscht belt because they eat a lot of borscht.
And I read this article, which I wanted to ask you about it, in which you said that it was a dangerous place for them to be.
It was dangerous.
Why?
Because the Jews would eat a lot of chopped vegetables smothered in sour cream. They'd eat a lot of it. And then they'd slather heels of pumpernickel with 2 inches of sweet butter. And they'd eat all that. But that didn't kill them. That didn't hurt them. They died, but not of that. Because then they would sit on the porch after that meal of sour cream and they'd rock. And what killed them was singing Dancing in the Dark in the wrong key. Dancing in the Dark is a very rangy song.
Yes.
And if you sing it like Bing Crosby in 1936, you won't be in trouble. Crosby sang it like this. Dancing in the dark, tune ends, we're waltzing in the dark, and as soon as we can face the music together, dancing as we're dancing in the dark. I mean, it's high, it's just very high. That's why you have to start in B flat. I mean, you gotta go very low. So, the Jews don't know that. And they're eating their faded pumpernickel, sour cream, and they start like this. Dancing till the tune ends, we're waltzing. And we can face the music together. Stroke, dead. And that's how it happened.
Oh, dear.
I'm telling you the truth.
I know you are. I know. I don't believe every
And
word.
then there'd be this nice, big, tall, good-looking Gentile kid who would come and take them off the porch and bury them or whatever. I don't know. It's true.
Now, your long-suffering wife,
Yes.
the magnificent Anne Bancroft.
Yes.
First of all, can I ask
First
you...
of all, I was broke, and I ran into her. And I didn't have a sou.
I've not asked the question yet, but the question was going to be, how do you meet her? But go on.
Well, I met her in a strange way, because we knew Herbie Gardner, who's gone now, and Jerry Orbach, Law and Order. We knew we had a lot of good friends together. And I had met her, she was singing at a Perry Como rehearsal. Remember the Perry Como show?
Yeah.
And she was a guest star with Jimmy Durante and everything. She was wearing a white dress. She was just... So I yelled from the audience, "Hey, Anne Bancroft, I'm Mel Brooks." And I think she said, "Who gives a shit?" I don't know. I'm not sure how she responded. But anyway, she left, and I called Jerry Orbach because I knew Jerry knew her, and I said, "Where does she eat? Where does she go? How does she?" He said, "Well, Martha," and that was his wife. "Martha and I tonight we're going to the Village Vanguard to see Harry Belafonte." I said, "Okay." Boom, bang. And I'm there at the Village. It's a kismet. Here we are. Then the next I call Herbie Gardner. When she's going to O. Henry's restaurant on 47th Street because we're going there with Rita, and I come into it, and every night I was going. I trailed her for. I could have been arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like for 5 nights, and then she said, "Okay, the joke is over. Let's hang out together," And so we finally started going together.
Well, by the way, can I ask you, what did your mother say when you took this Gentile?
We never heard my mother because she had turned on the gas and stuck her head in the oven. We didn't know what she said. But anyway, Anne was responsible for it.
Now, again, I read somewhere once that you actually serenaded the Germans.
Oh, well, not really. There was a... it was near the end of the war. I was a little soldier. I was a corporal, actually. 2 stripes.
You're in Europe?
Yeah, in Europe. It was just outside of Wiesbaden, and we were on patrol, and they said, don't know if it's true, they said there was some Germans ensconced in a farmhouse, a white farm, on a hill. So there happened to be this speaker, megaphone, this
Bullhorn.
Bullhorn. So I said, well, what the hell? They're cut off. They're probably starving. And, well, let's give them a treat. So I did a little, I sang, tut, 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 say goodbye. Don't cry, Tootie, don't cry. I did the whole Tut, Tut, Tootsie song. And then I can hear faintly, say it good, say it. Believe me, yeah. Then we captured them and put them in. Yeah. But it's true, it's all true. It's a true story. Yeah.
So, in a sense, I mean, the producers are your revenge on Adolf Hitler, isn't it? And putting you through all that war.
Well, you know, I got letters. I get letters from a lot of Jewish people who said, well, how can you know, that's nothing really funny about concentration camps, et cetera. And I said, I beg to differ. If you deal with tyrants, dictators, what have you, and get on a soapbox and indulge in rhetoric, you're going to lose. That's why those guys are there, because they know how to sway the masses. But if you can take the mickey out of them, if you can make fun of them, if you can make them ludicrous, if you can make them ridiculous, you can tear them down.
Yes.
So therefore, Springtime for Hitler, or the producers, does just that. It's lovely revenge for me.
It hasn't, I know, appeared in Germany yet. Do you think it ever would play Germany?
Well, if it does, I won't be there. I mean, there are these guys, you know. They still have snipers' rifles, and I'm sure they're not happy.
But have you had any reaction from Germans in the audience?
Yes,
Like that
yes.
You have?
There were a couple of Germans. Strangely enough, there was a party, this is St. James Theater in New York. There were 2 older couples, and they actually stormed out. Ist reingesput, was ist gemacht und schlecht, was ist immer. Got the shithead, I don't know what they were. And then there was another time, there was a dozen young kids who would come over, exchange students or something like that, and they were looking for me, and I said, oh my God, and they just wanted to kiss me and tell me how funny it was. And so the young Germans were very happy about it.
What's the most extreme reaction you've had from a Jewish customer? Do you know? Has there been one that's...
Yes. There was a guy, there was one, and he came storming up the aisle right after Springtime for Hitler. And he said, he found me, he said, Mel Brooks, and he was ready to punch me. And he said, I was in World War II. And I said, so was I didn't see you. Where the hell were you, you know? And anyway, we calmed him down. He was in his cups. He had had a few. And he, you know, he obviously didn't hear the premise that we were looking for the worst play in the world with the worst director in the world, but, you know, and he didn't get it, you know.
No.
He must have, you know.
Have you seen it, Rennie? Have you seen the producers?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Absolutely. Laughed till I cried.
Oh, yes.
It's wonderful.
Fantastic.
I took Judi Dench
Did you?
to see the producers when we were shooting the shipping news. I convinced her to take a break.
Oh, really?
To come down from Newfoundland where we were shooting, and I took her to the producers, and we
Who did you
almost
see?
wet ourselves with laughter.
Did you see Matthew Broderick?
I saw Nathan and Matthew. Yes.
Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, all that.
And Nathan
Yep.
is now here in
Nathan
London.
is now here in London.
He's come and
is-
saved the day. hasn't he?
And we've got Lee Evans, who's fantastic.
Nathan Lane's it's one of the great performances. Would you agree as that to
Absolutely.
yourself? I mean, when you
It's
see
a knockout.
it,
It's one of the funniest things you'll ever see.
It's true.
it's
I know I'll never
it's a
get it back,
wonderful-
but
no,
please.
it's a wonderful performance. He's very good.
Very, very
It's
funny.
very, very funny.
Marty's show was good, too.
you know what he's doing with his?
Yeah, what's he
He's
doing?
giving his to the girls backstage that said he was handsome.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that. That was great. Did you make that up?
Yeah.
I went to see the show, as I said the other night. I really did enjoy it. It's a wonderful, wonderful show.
Yeah.
And,
You know, this English cast is fabulous.
Yeah?
And the ensemble, they're only like in their 20s. Beautiful, gorgeous, young, you know, ladies.
and it's good to see you again. I mean,
I see you
successful-
every 22 years.
You do? That was the last time, about 22
You were at
years
the
ago.
BBC last
I
time.
was at the BBC
What happened?
last
Were you
time.
unhappy? You can tell.
I was heartbroken. It took a while, but I got over it.
Yeah,
I got over it. I really did, yeah.
I can imagine, right.
Mel Brooks,
Anyway,
thank you very much
pleasure.
indeed. Mel Brooks.